guy just come in there and look for knockoffs, and that's not the case. You know, I'm actually a sharp, smart fighter.
So, well, wait, I'm here. Who want to fight me?
I really don't care who's in front of me. I don't feel like no fighter can beat me.
Demolish everybody, to be honest. Everybody that's in my way. The pinnacle to any weight division is to have all the belts, all of the titles.
Welcome to Bodywork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. It feels so good to be back. How y'all doing out there, man? How are y'all doing, man? I know it's been a couple days. And I know what y'all thinking. I'm upset with boxing. Chill out, chillax. Nah, I'm not upset at all, man. I'm not upset at all with boxing, man. I know boxing is gonna do what it do. And I'm gonna control what's within my control, and I'm gonna keep on pushing. But I've been watching. I've been listening. I've been, paying attention to what's going on, and salute to everybody in the building. Let's see, Cookie Monster, Bodywork, mic check, 1 2 1 2, sounding awesome as always. I appreciate that mic check. Salute Cookie Monster. I need that. But before I get into tonight's curriculum, I do want to do a little bit of housekeeping. And I want to start off by talking about, what happened with Galal 5, man. I think that's messed up. What happened. I'm wondering where's all the outrage, where all the videos at for Francisco Rodriguez, man, who popped hot after doing my man's dirty. And it wasn't, there's more than a handful of guys over there that I actually like, man. But Galal 5, I actually like what he brings to the table. And, looking at that fight, that's kind of messed up, man. And I hope Galal, comes back and, he's able to get over that, what happened to him. It was a big outrage when Ryan did what he did to Devin. It was like, oh my gosh. But here we are seeing it again, man. And maybe it's something going on, because they used to say that a lot of the Mexicanos that go over there across the pond was, having the ups on them guys and doing them bad, man. They might gotta tighten up on the testing. The testing 1 2 1 2, so positive vibes out to Galal 5, man. I hope he's able to bounce back. I hope this, hope he get, justification for this. I don't know what they're going to do about it, but I hope something happened, man. That was kind of bad, man. And Buddy was turning up on him, man. Buddy was really turning up on him, man. I'm like, man, that's crazy. So I wanted to address that in question. Where's all the outrage for Francisco Rodriguez? Where all of the snack warriors, the USADA, WADA Avengers, when it comes down to that? That's what I'm wondering. But, we'll see, man. We'll see. I haven't really been paying attention to a lot of people that would typically be talking about those things, but I noticed that on the major ones, they don't even mention this. It's not even a talking point, man. And I'm like, that's kind of crazy, man, that happened. But we pick and choose like always as to, you know, popular names, which is one of the main purposes of tonight's show. But moving right along, man, I want to talk about still in the housekeeping, man. The whole Edgar Berlanga situation and the press conference and how that went. I mean, y'all, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the channel, right? When Turkey had the last circus that he had, you know, I really didn't report on it and talk about a lot of the things surrounding it because it is a circus, man. I mean, it's so I guess unorthodox. It's so abstract. It's like it's unorganized. You know, I'm used to structure and I'm used to things being a certain kind of way and having. I kind of do like the ceremony of things. You know, I kind of like the order of things and how the rollout are and just having some order and decency to how these things are being rolled out. Like even clear views of how they're sitting, and like Eddie was sitting all in front of Alberto Puello and the angle they was using and, you know, all of this stuff. But, you know, Berlanga, he had his talking points and, you know, he was being rude and he said my man was a giraffe and basically calling him Giraffe Neck and Jurassic Park and playing the music and calling Oscar a stripper. And I mean, it's just, it's like, is the pressure on, man? Wouldn't hardly let my man talk. And Hamza was just cool, calm, and collected. You know, I think moving right along to Shakur, he pretty much was, I guess he was vibing off of the same thing that Berlanga was on. You know, I mean, he was interrupting Zepeda, and you know, I don't know, man. I seen it as early as today. I seen somebody saying is and I asked this question the last time I went live and nobody have yet to answer. I have not seen one solid piece of evidence or information to kind of, you know, settle me down on this and prove or educate me, pull my coattail as to how Shakur Stevenson is being set up. I don't really see it, but I seen one and the title is Shakur Stevenson being set up for a lost. I was like, okay, for a lost what? Like it was LOST. Like it was a lot like what, a lost puppy? Like was what was he being set up to for a lost what? A lost puppy, a lost cat? Like what was going on? Is the correct spelling is LOSS. But if you're trying to say that he's being set up for a loss, I'm still confounded as to how. He said ring size don't matter. He said he been wanting this fight so bad. Zepeda is tailor-made for him. It's like, what else? Like, he got paid for this. That's his mandatory. It's right. He doubled down. He added something that I did not know. Shakur came out and said he's been wanting this fight for 3 years. I'm like, wow, 3 years? He's been wanting this fight for 3 years? I'm like, man, I mean, you know, I'm not, you know, because for me, it seems like I'm a hater when I try to fact check these things, because it's like, why have a press conference? You could just say whatever you want. Nobody can fact check you and nobody can question you or ask you anything, you know, without you being deemed a hater. But I'm like, I never knew he wanted this fight for 3 years. So the last couple things Shakur came on and said was that he's tired of chasing Tank. He's been wanting this fight with Zepeda for 3 years. I'm like, how long has he been in the division? That's interesting. You know what I'm saying? That's very interesting. Even though we're past the midway point in 2025, so I guess, he might be on the cusp. But all I really think is that a lot of people don't really have a lot to say. A lot of people aren't that creative, and they are reaching for straws when it comes to materials. So the only thing to do is like, oh, I think he's being set up. It's like, well, how is he being set up? They can never tell you how. If he said the ring size don't matter, Zapata is tailor made for him. That Tom and Jerry, he gonna fight how he fight. A win is a win is a win. I'm not sure. He got a blueprint, a possible blueprint. Tevin Farmer, a lot of people believe, like myself, believe Tevin Farmer won the first fight. As Zapata came back, he made adjustments in the second fight, and it looked a lot worse. That fight probably could have got stopped had Tevin Farmer not been so, he had so much dog in him, but it went on and went the distance, and he wound up making a late surge. He almost did the old rope-a-dope for a second. Caught in wobbles Zapata. And did Zapata learn from it? I'm not sure. But it's a lot of film on Zapata here going against the Southpaw and Tevin Farmer, and maybe not the same defense, but it's a lot of film to look at. So he's been studying and waiting in the wings and watching. So if anybody could tell me if they're thinking that the Tom and Jerry effect is going to affect or persuade Shakur to fight any other way than what he wants to do, then you might not be a Shakur fan, because even Wally Moses was sitting up there telling them, go ahead, man, stop playing with this guy, do this, do that. You know what I'm saying? When we was fighting Haratuni, and he kept saying, after every bell, I'm gonna stop this guy. And Wally was like, come on, man, like, do what you, and I'm gonna stop this guy. And Shakur, you can say all of the rah-rah, you can say all of that stuff you want, when it comes down to Shakur, he believes a win is a win is a win. So he's gonna come out there and do whatever it takes for him to actually get the dub. I'm not expecting anything different. That's what he's gonna do. And I'm just like, now it's another layer to the onion, whereas he's been waiting 3 years for Zapata. I'm seeing that the Brian Norman and the Devin thing is going, is going along, and they getting ready to have a press conference, and they about to set that off. And I think a lot of people have their fingers crossed that this get across the finish line. I'll be touching on it from a distance. It's rather early, but I'm glad they having a press conference, and they actually, gonna get some attention on it. Hopefully they will actually handle this fight a little bit better than how they actually handling the Subriel Matias and the Alberto Puello. What up, L Dub? What's good? Salute, L Dub. Salute. But that's pretty much all of the housekeeping. I do know this. It's still a thing out here where I guess if you need a bad example, like somebody getting touched in sparring, it's still safe to use Tank as the example. If you want to make an example about how somebody ain't legacy, it's still okay to use Tank. It just puzzles me how so many people, they love to talk about Tank, right? When they use their bad examples, when you can find plenty of other people that have not been fighting for legacy, plenty of other people that's been using catch weights, and even more people who've been using rehydration, even more people who've been bringing people up 2 and 3 weight classes, like Canelo. But when you correct the facts, and when you correct people on what they omit when they speaking about the young boy from Baltimore, then you a meat rider. It's like, you can't gaslight me. I'm already lit, man. It's just, it's virtual signaling. I think that's pretty much the password. That's the passcode nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Whereas if you want to show everybody that you down, just throw some shade on Tank whenever you get a chance. It's just some random stupid shade on Tank. that'll let everybody know that you in there like swimwear, and you can go ahead and go to the cookout. You can go to the sausage party, get you a couple beanie weenies, some franks, a foot long, a quarter pounder, a sausage. You know what I'm saying? All of that. You know, that's not going to change. That's not going to change. But his twin, Bodywork, Koki. Salute, Koki. Bodywork, my brother. Salute, Koki. Yeah, man. Oh, you say you coming back? Okay, yeah. But let me get into the let me go ahead and get into this, man. Let me get into this topic, man. And I'm wondering, is it just me or this fight right here? This one is getting treated like the redheaded stepchild. This one is getting treated like the redheaded stepchild of the bunch. And we're talking about no other than Alberto Puello, the Wasp, and Subriel, El Orgullo de Maternillo, Matias, the pride of motherhood. I believe that this fight, man, it's kind of weird because I gave Turkey full credit. This is one of the fight. This is one of the cards. Actually, I gave him full credit to say that the whole card is lit. You know, if somebody say this card is not lit, they're probably not a fan. But the whole card is lit. Now, where me and a lot of other people differ is because I feel like 140 is my division. I've been following 140. I've been following 154. Them two were my divisions that I was keeping close tabs on, eyes on, triangulating. A lot of 35 too. You know, I just catered more towards 40, putting a lot of leg work, putting a lot of stakes in the ground for it when it came down to Subriel, man. And I was nervous when he went over there with Eddie. He went over there with Eddie. I was pleading for them not to make that man just defend, get him an opportunity to unify. That didn't happen. A lot of people stalled him out. You know, a lot of people said everything but let's fight when it came down to Subriel Matias. They'll gaslight you like they the best thing since sliced bread in the world. They can walk on water. You know, they can turn water into wine. They can feed a whole troop of people with just 5 fish and a loaf of bread. You know, they can do all these things, but they would not fight Subriel Matias. That's a fact. Like a lot of people ran from that man. Like it was two boogeymen. It was Gary Antoine Russell and Subriel Matias in that division, and nobody wanted to fight him. And ironically, they lost on the same night. When Tank fought. I think that was when Tank fought Frank Martin. When Tank fought Frank Martin, the night when Tank fought Frank Martin, they both lost. Gary Antoine lost to Alberto Puello, and Subriel Matias lost to Liam Paro. He just basically got outworked. He didn't get his ass waxed or nothing like that. He got outworked, you know, and next thing you know, he was no longer with Eddie. You know, I don't know if they you know, Subriel, I've seen a couple interviews where he basically said that no, the relationship is good. I think Subriel's being real savvy in it, but I think they made him walk the plank, you know, from over there, you know, and I think they're keeping it close to the vest just to maintain relations, you know, with them guys, because they did give him an opportunity. And their reasoning was that the people that got Subriel where he was in the rankings and getting him up so high and building up his cachet, they thought that they were better at getting him back in position than he would have been over there with Eddie and them. It sounded good, and in hindsight and actually watching everything, it kind of makes sense because Subriel Matias did kind of, you know, he did bounce back. You know, he did have to go back. It's almost like the same thing happened with Regis. You know, when Regis was in his prime, he took that step back. He had to go to the back of the line. Nobody wanted to fight him. He finally got Jean Jose Zepeda to actually fight him finally, and that's when he actually got his strap back. But he had to take the long route. no opportunities. A lot of people was ducking Subriel Matias, man. So don't let these hindsight, it's 2020, these Johnny come latelys trying to persuade you or dissuade you into thinking that Subriel Matias wasn't one of them guys in the division, because he was. Now Gary Antoine, he wound up fighting Alberto Puello. A lot of people be trying to say that Gary Antoine actually won the fight, and you know, this and that. And like, I'm like, nah, man, that's my man, 50 grand. But no. And I could say, even though I could say it was competitive and it was close, but it was not like picking straws, or, you know, it was not like a photo finish. Like, no, it wasn't. Because when you go back and you look at it, much like the low blow that they called a low blow when it came down to Daniel Dubois and Usyk, how that was deemed a low blow, and it really wasn't. The same thing happened in this fight with Alberto Puello and Gary Antoine. Even though Gary Antoine, that's my man, 50 grand. That was not a low blow. I slowed it down. I took a picture. It's on my thumbnail. And I'm like, man, if your joint is all the way up there, then something is wrong. You know what I'm saying? If you get hit in the jewels and your jewels is all the way up there, man, then something is wrong, man. Like, you either got a invisible jewels, or, you know, you got that predator shit going on where you can, you know what I'm saying, reflect light around the jewels if they that high. But that was not a low blow, man. You know, if he played it off, he got the time and all that. But I'm like, nah, like Alberto Puello, man, the Wasp, he will sting that ass if you let him. You know, he is surgical in his skill set. He uses his jab. He fights. He's pivots. Man, there was times in that fight with Gary Antoine that he made Gary Antoine whiff, like bad. Like when he was in the corner, he was putting pressure on. He stepped, turned, pivot, and Gary Antoine was like up against the ropes, like looking like, which way did he go? I mean, Puello is surgical. Now, I do think that one of the things that you have to do for Puello is that you have to go to his body. And I think that you have to really be a skilled boxer, because I think it's going to be the more skilled boxer with more than respectable power that would actually give Puello everything that he wanted. And I don't quite see anybody out here right now that can actually do that. But this is a style clash, because Subriel Matias is a mauler. He will hit you like David Benavidez over and over again wherever he can and wear you down. He has a very high gas rate. And when they was doing the interview, one of the pieces of information that I actually was able to obtain from that interview that they put on the back burner was that the Wasp, Puello, he said that what he's relying on basically is that his conditioning is A1. Now, I found it odd that he said his conditioning. Why? Because he's pretty much surgical. You know, he can box. Like, if you don't know what you're doing, if you're not a master at your, you know, at distance, and you make a lot of mistakes, you come in lunging, head past your knees, poor technique, Alberto Puello is going to make you look very bad. And I think that he has more than respectable power, very long arms, and he has like a bullwhip of an uppercut, a hook, and if you get the mixing and mastering on you, you can get in trouble. What I think, and I hope that Subriel has gotten better at, is not allowing his opponent to hit him as much. Now, I know in the first couple rounds, Subriel Matias tends to like to allow his opponent to pretty much punch themselves out, see what they got, see if they can take it. I'm not sure if he can be able to do that. And this is why I want to start off proper, like by giving this breakdown. I want to say this, man. Listen, you can think that it's hating all you want. This is the most competitive fight on this card. Why? It is a natural makeup. These are two natural 140-pound fighters. Two natural 140-pound fighters. The Wasp, He actually had the WBA, lost it because he popped hot because they were trying to have a baby. He wound up going ahead and having one. You know, wifey got pregnant. They relieved him of that strap. He had to go to the back of the line. He then got an opportunity for a strap when Devin and that shenanigans happened on 420. You know, and whatever happened, and that strap was popped off in the air. Him and Gary Antoine actually fought for that strap. He edged him out. So he's actually a two-time champ. Subriel Matias, which I gave him a lot of credit for at the point in time, was the IBF strap that comes along with that 10-pound rehydration. He was using and fighting for that. One, nobody was standing in that line because of the 10-pound rehydration. We're in a time and place where they say, if you can cut down and make the weight, it don't matter how much. No, it do matters. It do matters, and it's starting to really show, and it's really starting to rear its ugly head in a lot of these fights now, to where you actually seeing how people really are campaigning in weight classes that they really have no business. If you look at the most recent events with Boots moving up and talking about he been there for 10 years and all, it's like, okay, it was all good just a couple months ago. If you look at Devin and how he campaigning now, he wants to be a full-fledged 140, but he was down at 135 sucking himself dry. You know, if you look at how Richardson Hitchens, how he fought when he was getting accustomed to the IBF, and he don't even like to rehydrate that much. He like to be like 152, 153, you know, fighting at 140, which is not bad at all. I think that's a good, comfortable, like 10 might be a little extreme, but 12 to 15 pounds, I mean, that should be all you need, especially if you're fighting closer to the weight class that you should be in. But you can see how when he first was getting accustomed to it, how even Richardson Hitchens struggled with it, right? So what I'm actually seeing is that Subriel Matias, he got put around. He basically was in a trap fight. You know why? Because I think that he can beat Liam Paro. But Liam Paro came. He went to his backyard. He basically did everything. He fought the perfect fight for Subriel. He shut the front door every time he came in with the jab. He met him with the jab. He clinched. He went to his body. He didn't let him set his feet. He kept moving around. He kept circling him. He did a lot of clinching, a lot of holding. He broke a lot of the rhythm. And I'm not sure if that night, if Subriel was a victim of, you know, basically doing a lot, doing the most in front of his hometown crowd. You know, so he did actually fall short that night. But I'm not sure if Liam Paro and Subriel Matias fought 10 times out of 10, if that would be the same reaction. I just don't take anything away from Liam Paro for actually winning that fight. This is why I say that this fight is the most competitive fight. Why? Because you have a two-time champ, current reigning champ with the WBC in Alberto Puello. Then you have a former champ, which was the IBF champ, coming back, getting another bite at the apple, right? Naturally. So these are two champs and former champs, like two-time versus former. And Subriel Matias being one of two boogeymen linked along with Gary Antoine Russell. A fight that everybody still wants to see Matias and Gary Antoine. People still want to see Matias and Richardson Hitchens. They still want to see these fights. People even still might want to see Liam Paro and Subriel Matias get it on again just to see what would happen. But 140 is one of the most competitive divisions where on any given night it can go down. I've been trying to tell y'all this. I've been painting a picture for this. Even when I put this up, I said this was the new landscape. This was 140 reloaded, right? Gary Antoine got the WBA. Alberto Puello got the WBC. Richardson Hitchens got the IBF. Teofimo got the WBO. And who did I say were the problems? Look who right in the middle. These were the problems. We got Frank Martin getting ready to campaign there. Jermaine Ortiz got a resurgence. We got Kendall Sims actually getting ready to fight here soon. And then you got what's my man name? what's his name? He just got hurt and pulled out of a fight, man. Tito Mercado. You got Tito Mercado, which I think he's a problem. But look who I had in the middle. So it was ironic. So when I seen this fight announced, I said, "Wow!" But you got to look at how this fight is actually being handled. My question is, who's the predator and who's the prey? And we got to look at how this fight is being handled, because if it was like, these guys are not being treated like they even on the card. Like, if you look at how they're being interviewed, it's an afterthought. It's almost like, oh yeah, and here we go. We got Alberto, Puello, and Subriel. Y'all want to say a couple words? Oh, y'all don't? Oh, okay. Oh, you do want to say something? All right. Give them their little 5 minutes or whatever, and let's keep it moving. You know, I think that Subriel is up for this fight. I think that this fight could have been a headline. It should have been the headline, because when you look at it, Edgar Berlanga, his claim to fame was his knockout streak and sharing the ring with the same fate that Jermell Charlo faced when it came down to Canelo. A 12-round washing. You know what I'm saying? 1 knockdown. Canelo good for 1 knockdown and a full body wash. You know what I'm saying? That's what it was. He's getting Hamza Shiraz coming up from 160 up to 168. His first time up there, coming off of questionable performance against Carlos Adames, one in which Carlos Adames made me eat mega crow. You know, we did find out that Hamza Shiraz had a bad phalange in there, but you know, my thing, since you know the arrow spins in the bud, I don't make excuses. You know, I will point out that something wasn't right or something wasn't, you know, whatever. But my whole thing is, if you decide to get in the ring, regardless of your status and how you are, you know, I'm not gonna make excuses, even though we can see when something is wrong, and something was wrong with Hamza Shiraz. Carlos Adames had also looked the best that he's looked in, you know, I've ever seen him. You know, he fought the perfect fight. I was shocked. I was proud. I was happy. I was saying, listen, man, even though Hamza is, you know, he's one of my guys, I was like, man, look, Carlos Adames box, he used that head movement. He went to the body. He was unpredictable. He was, you know, relentless. You know, he was smart. You know, he was patient at times. You know, he fought the perfect fight, and for that man to go away without having a dub, but having a draw, I thought that was an injustice. And that's how I am. I will actually speak out against those things. I will actually speak to those things, because the channel will silence his consent. So when you look at the matchup between him and Edgar Berlanga, I mean, most people saying, oh man, Edgar going to knock his head off. Then you got some people saying, oh well, Hamza Shiraz is going to box his head off. You know, but we're going to assume the smaller man moving up, you know, fighting Edgar Berlanga in his backyard in New York is pretty much designed, even though that's Turkey's boy. If Edgar allows us to go to the scorecard and he's not aggressive and, you know, cutting off the ring and using his power and imposing his will or implementing anything that he learned from that fight to Canelo, then we would have to say something's wrong. But most people are assuming that Edgar Berlanga is going to knock Hamza Shiraz's block off, because they seen him get hurt. They seen him get touched by ammo. You know, they're just assuming that, right? So that's the consensus, right? When you look at the Shakur Stevenson and William Zepeda, you got to look at it like, well, Shakur Stevenson he was champ at 126, 130, 135. He unified at 130. You know, he's an Olympian. William Zepeda was never really, they was questioning Zepeda so bad. It was so many. That's why it's so crazy. They were talking about William Zepeda so bad after the Tevin Farmer fight, after the first Tevin Farmer fight, and then seeing him in the results of this last fight, they were saying, well, was he hype? I'm talking about major channel, like them guys over, like Paulie and them guys over there. You should have heard how they were talking about William Zepeda. Just to come around and actually make it seem like somehow, some way, Shakur is getting set up. That's like a foregone conclusion. Me personally, I think that, you know, Shakur might have put more pressure on himself than need be by all of the smack talking that he always do going into the fight. But we all know that if Shakur is who he say he is, like, they're pegging Shakur to actually walk away from this fight. A lot of people they're not really talking about the David Morrell the talented Mr. David Morrell and Imam Katayev. They're not really talking about that fight as much, right? Because I don't think a lot of people know about Imam. We know that David Morrell, the Cuban sensation, he's come in, he was sparking people. Mr. Outside the ring, I respect everything and everybody, but inside the ring, I don't respect nothing, man. Well, David Benavidez made my man respect him more than ever, and he kind of put his hands in his pockets. I think he learned from that fight, and they know that David Morrell is still the goods. He still has a lot going on, and he has a high ceiling. So they're looking at him like, he still got necks. He's still, a formidable force. He's still a force to be reckoned with. But it's an unknown with Katayev. We know that he got a good knockout streak. Supposedly he has power. So we'll actually see what happens. But with this fight, Subriel Matias and Alberto Puello, with the tutelage that Alberto Puello, because you got to remember, he just went through with Sandor Martin and the experience he had from that fight, the pure boxer. So he's adding layers to that onion, because he got Gary Antoine Russell on there, he got Sandor Martin on there. Now he getting ready to fight Subriel Matias. He's a force to be reckoned with. You can, nobody truly knows what's going to happen. You can have your opinion, you can believe this, but nobody truly knows. This is the most competitive even match fight, and I'm grateful that we're getting it. I just think that the promotion for this was all wrong. I've been sitting back waiting and watching. This is what I be trying to say. All of these guys and all of these major channels, they can miss me when they talk about all these legacy things. When they talk about all these legacy things and all this and legacy that, because they will wear you out when it come down to certain fighters and how, oh man, that's legacy and what has he done, and show me 2 times they fought elite. But this fight right here, a true legacy fight, is on the back burner. This fight is like an afterthought. It's not even being promoted. Right. But what's going on, AC?
Yeah, what's good, man? I had to go for an emergency meeting, bro, and man, off the record, I'll talk to you because shit is crazy right now. But
welcome aboard.
Yeah, definitely. Salute to everybody, man, in the chat and everything, man. So, did you run through their stats?
No, I didn't go through their stats. I just laid out the foundational. I did a little bit of housekeeping. Okay. Talking about the press conference, and then I came along with how they came to be, like how they came to match and how I think they're matched. Like,
oh, okay. So for me, the press conference, I wasn't real excited about it. It had a lot of cringe moments for me. But when I was looking at how all the fighters looked, these 2 guys look like if they would have did the weigh-ins right there, they were on weight and ready to go. And I was like, I like how they kept it simple and just kept it boxing, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. But for me, they were the exciting part for the press conference. Now, the crazy thing is, it's just it's an 1.5 inch height difference between Puello and Matias. Matias is 5'8", you feel me, with a 71 inch arm reach. Puello is 5'9.5" with a 71 inch arm reach. 46% knockout rate, 176 rounds in. Crazy, he's ranked number 10 globally and number 1 in the Dominican Republic. So, with Jake Paul being ranked, now it's really starting to question the hell is going on with the rankings. Matias, Puerto Rican fighter, ranked number 2 globally, ranked number 1 in Puerto Rico. 100% knockout rate, although he has 2 losses with 118 rounds in 24 bouts. when you kind of look at their numbers and everything, and look at how they grew up, that's the way I want to use that term. They both have, you know, limited numbers, like I think less than five upside down fights, and the upside down fights are like 3 and 6 or something like that, you know. So the way they grew up, the way they was raised and grew up, it's kind of similar to me. So um, for me, the argument then comes down to styles. Just to talk about some classic points.
Mhm.
Um, uh, the last uh, Dominican versus Puerto Rican boxing matchup was between Miguel Cotto, being Puerto Rican, and Delvin Rodriguez from the Dominican Republic. So when you talk about culture wise in the two islands, this is a big deal, like big deal.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So when you're trying to talk about Berlanga being Puerto Rican and this and that, no, you don't got the island behind you, like you know like Matias. So with that being said, even here in New York and Brooklyn, heavy Puerto Rican, heavy Dominican, it's a big deal fight. And it's, and I could see in certain bodegas where, you know, uh, the radio channels, I hear them talking about the fight and stuff like that and who they backing. So it's a big deal. So relevance of the fight for me is the highest on the card. Um, so this is the sleeper, and I think the boxing purists know that it's the sleeper and things like that. I did some other research just to see the percentage of Dominican champions versus Puerto Rican champions. It's not even close. Puerto Rico has way more boxing champions and things like that. When you look at it, you've got Felix Trinidad, Hector Camacho, one of my all-time favorites. Is always on my list. The great Wilfred Benitez. You got Miguel Cotto. You got Amanda Serrano and Subriel Matias as more recent, you know,
Mhm.
Puerto Rican champions. You had Ada Velez, 7-time world champion. I think her last fight was in 2016. You know, but Dominicans, these names are familiar if you're a boxing purist like that. Carlos Tio Cruz, Leonardo Cruz, Julio Cesar Green, just to name a few. So uh, to me, this is a big deal fight, and I bought all into it.
Yeah, I think it's big implications because a lot of people did want to see Gary Antoine and Puello get it on again because a lot of people deemed that it was, pretty close. A lot of people still wanted to see because Subriel and Gary Antoine, they were the quote unquote boogeymen,
Yeah,
of the division. I don't know if you was here when I said that, but like they both lost on the same night. I think that was the night when Tank fought Frank Martin. They both lost that night, and um, that was big implication. Now, what makes this interesting is Dalton Smith. Dalton Smith is the mandatory for the WBC, so they're already, positioning him to get pretty much the winner of this. So he's supposed to be coming to the fight, and I know them guys from across the pond, they're high on Dalton Smith. So in a perfect world, you would think, man, you just had Richardson Hitchens come off of, the performance of a lifetime against Kambosos. Granted, it was Kambosos, but he stopped him. More devastating than Loma did. You also have Gary Antoine I think he's getting ready to have to face his mandatory and Andy Hirioka. But you got Tio waiting in the wings to where no Boots, no Richardson Hitchens, no Devin, and he's not being brought up in the conversation. And out of the blue, we're talking about a Dalton Smith getting the winner of this. And I'm like, this is what I be trying to say sometimes when it comes down to how these guys are managed. I know we be on the outside looking in, but I gotta think that sometimes when it comes down to these fighters having momentum, that's when they actually drop the ball. And Coach Key, he's actually saying that he think that the promotion is ass as far as how they even promoting this fight.
Yeah, for sure. Salute, Coach Key. But yeah, I mean, they could have promoted this thing a hell of a lot better by just settling on who's the main event. You know what I'm saying? That would have been number one. But when you try to stack a card, and I don't have any complaints with the card. I think the card is crazy. But when you have a card this good, you should have promoted this shit like you was doing those Fury and Usyk cards, the AJ fights where you had the cool ass music and all of that kind of stuff. So I think that's how it should have went down, because at the end of the day, I believe it's only 2 championship fights on the card, if I'm correct. That would be Shakur's belt and the Matias fight. So right there, that kind of tells you which should have been the main and the co-main. But I get where you're trying to put asses in seats and then build the show. But
salute Coach Key.
Yo, salute Bodywork, salute AC. How y'all doing?
Salute, bro.
Good, man. We just trying to talk about what's going on with this card and how it's being promoted. And
yeah, AC brought up a great point about the bodegas. I feel like you go to New York. I'm in the X, so like I know elders. They're talking about this, man, because in baseball, Dominicans and Puerto Ricans, they got a long history in baseball for sure. And Dominicans, they caught up in basketball too, because Dominicans they doing pretty good in basketball. They got Carl Towns, they got Al Horford, and basketball was like a Puerto Rican thing for a while, because I'm not sure you remember back in the day, and one and Carlos Arroyo and Jose Juan Barrera, like those guys. Like, so now boxing, you got Puello. He's a champion, a WBC champion. And you guys know, like WBC, like all the Latino champions, like all the history with that. So Puello being Dominican and being part of that history, Bodywork brought it up perfectly. He said this is the kind of fight that you remember down the line in the history of this division. And Puello, he got here hard way. He faced Martin. Haney didn't want to face Martin. And I'm not even trying to hate on Haney, but Puello did the mandatory work, and he got that title the hard way, and nobody was gonna face Gary Antoine Russell like that, and Puello did it. And so I think AC brought up a great point. This promotion, they missed the opportunity, they missed the market. In this event, you're gonna see a lot of Dominican flags, you're gonna see even more Puerto Rican flags. And Turkey Al Sheikh and friends, they could have marketed it off just that. They could have did it like a nationality thing. Like they didn't even do that. They sat Puello down there in the press conference. They sat him down like he's a default boxer. Like he has no backstory. And then same thing with Matias.
I ask you this question, Koki, because you're from the BX, right?
Yeah.
How many Dominican type bodegas are in Queens?
In Queens?
And a couple out in Bronx, right?
Yeah.
Between, I know I like, there's a Puerto Rican one on the corner and a Dominican one right next door to it. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, what I'm saying is this: like, you could have had this joint so New York. You could have went back to Aventura. You feel what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
And have a song with them with the jump off, and then have like the battle of the Spanish bands. You feel what I'm saying? One Puerto Rican, one Dominican, and then these two fighters. Bro, they could
Exactly.
they oh my god, man. They couldn't have had me. They couldn't have had me in their ear like, listen, this is how you do
Yeah.
this joint.
You know, and it's sad too because these kind of events we don't get them that often. So, why not capitalize and add a story to it? Puello and Matias themselves, they got great stories. Like I get it. There's a language barrier. But these guys come from humble beginnings too. So I wish the American crowd, they got more exposed to that, because the only people that ever hear about it is on the Spanish podcast, because I follow all the Spanish podcasts on YouTube, right? And they talk about what these guys, they get to show off their personality. So I feel like the Zone and Turkey Out of the Sheik, they don't really tap into that. They don't really tap into the culture. Like they want guys to show up to their events, but they don't tap into the fans. They don't tap like Brian Norman Jr. should have a fight in I feel like he should have a fight in Atlanta, right? At least one. And I know they're gonna put that the Haney and Brian Norman over there in Saudi Arabia. I don't mean to go off topic, but I feel like Turkey doesn't really understand the market in the city, because Dominicans and Puerto Ricans are the most populated Latino group in New York, and that's like going to Los Angeles, or that's like going to Phoenix, Arizona. That's like going to Las Vegas and act like there's no Mexicans on the card. Like that's it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. And that's why I said the question about how many Dominican bodegas are in Queens, because I know that there's a thick population of Dominicans that live in Queens.
Oh hell yeah!
You feel what I'm saying? So the point I'm saying is, hit it for the 5 boroughs and then do the rewind joint and be on the islands.
Exactly.
You feel what I'm saying? Showing the beaches, showing now you bringing revenue to the island because you're filming this thing. You could have had this, boom, boom, boom. Every TV in Dominican Republic.
Oh hell yeah!
Everything in Puerto Rico is now tuned into this because the promotion came to them and they were part of it. So that's why I'm like, all right, Hamza's my guy, but I mean, come on, man.
Yo, he's crazy for that.
You know what I'm saying?
I think I got the play though, y'all. Like, see, you gotta kind of like, and I want to preface this by saying I'm giving Turkey full credit for this, because when I heard about the whole card, so I don't want this to get confused. But when I heard about the card as a whole, I said, oh man, that's a wonderful card. It's like one of the best cards he put together, right? But when I look at this piece right here, it has to be an agenda behind this, because they I think I went over this earlier on. Somehow when Subriel Matias lost, he was no longer over there with the Zone. And they try to say that, his promotional company could promote him better or get him back. They knew the pieces or whatever to get him back up, which they did, which is fine. But you got to look at it like this. They're treating these guys like an afterthought, because these are really like PBC guys. These are really PBC guys. Like, because you look at it and people can say, "Oh, you gangbanging." No, I am just stating the facts. I have no reason to. I love this fight, and I appreciate Turkey for putting it together. But the way he's promoting it lets you know that this is an afterthought. Then the fact that Dalton Smith is going to be there. So that
was such a good point you brought up, Bodywork. The whole Dalton Smith thing. That's so. I was like, where this guy came from, and then you brought it up. I'm like, what is this, man?
So listen. So remember, let's connect this dot. When Richardson Hitchens won, when he won, he was over there with Eddie, and he was trying to get T.O. T.O. was number 1. Devin and them was still scratching and clawing for position, so they entertained that, and he was just like F the Haney's or whatever. So it was either T.O. He wanted T.O. He said, yeah, I'll fight Devin, whatever, but I want T.O. And he had been saying that he want T.O. Turkey came out and said he is not going to work with Richardson Hitchens unless he go over there with Eddie. He basically told him, get back in your place, kid. You know what I'm saying? So to hear this fight and him grabbing this up with a Dalton Smith on the side, why wasn't it a Richardson Hitchens on the side? Why wasn't it a T.O. on the side? Because the play is they actually have control over Dalton Smith, and that's their link into through the WBC to be able to latch in and be able to get anywhere with the belt. Now, if I'm giving you guys a payday, you're gonna be looking like, okay, well, look, I gave you a payday, I put you on this card, I did this. Regardless how I promoted you, you know, look my way. Like I greased your palm. Now I got Dalton Smith here. So you're gonna be inclined, regardless of what happens, to actually listen to an offer or entertain something going on with Dalton Smith being the mandatory. Now it has to get ordered and all that other stuff has to happen. But this is just a play to get a hold of whoever has that belt, or to have claws in whoever has that belt. But they're kind of fumbling the bag because, like, the boxers are getting paid, and I'm sure they're grateful for it. But it's not doing justice by the people, like the Keys of the world, like that have vested interests that live in, like they in this culture, like it's your culture. So it's not being promoted right, and it's being treated like an afterthought to me.
Yeah. No, that's 100% true for sure. Because I feel like if Dalton Smith fights the winner of Puello Matias, do you think that's going to be in Saudi or they're going to do it in the UK?
I don't know, because his track record over here is like we getting these weird little things. Like this is a tennis court. They say it's very hard to access.
Yeah, it's a couple. I mean, you got to take a train, but it also is
yeah, it's fucked up to try to get there, bro. That's what we call behind God's back.
Yeah, it's deep. Bro. Yeah, it's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't got a car, you gotta like
get there. It's not gonna be fun because there's no where the closest bus would stop. It's this thing is like in between a long run of where the bus is.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? And it's like weird back shit, and it's just not a good look. But to hold a boxing event like that, as far as parking and all of that other stuff, it's like a really good venue that's like back in the cut to do something that's really big.
Yeah, and I wish it was something in like I really love Barclays. Like I love going to events over there, and for me, I wish it was over there, but they always got some shit booked over there anyway. So
I think what will happen is if the winner of this going to fight Dalton Smith, and they're going to probably try to do it on one of these undercards of one of these other fights that they give more credence to or something like that. Which I think this should have been. Again, I credit him for making the fight, but this was a main event of his own somewhere else. Like this could have been. Yeah. This is like a PBC. This is a PBC main card all day somewhere. It would have got promoted right. It would have been rolled out. The undercard would have been super lit. I mean, it's just we getting it. I can't complain because we getting it, but it would have been rolled out way different.
Yeah. Now I guess from the promotional side and stuff like that, for the boxing purists, we love this fight and we're thankful. I'm not complaining about it either, but I see certain aspects of it because on both sides of this situation, you would have an interpreter. You know what I'm saying? And not to say there's something horribly wrong, because we watch a lot of our favorite fighters, have to be interpreted and things like that. But for where they're trying to have everything, promotions and all of that, run at hyper speed, this is like a slow stroll when it comes down to trying to get these guys to spice up the promotions and everything. So you would have to have them, if they're going to be the main card, the co-main would be, to me, like a personality of a either Ryan Garcia or Teofimo Lopez, because they're going to be the ones that's going to be more boisterous and talk their shit and stuff like that. So I see where PBC may not know how to promote this because of the language barrier, but I like the fact that they said, all right, we got a great fight, but we may not know how to promote it properly and have it make sense for Amazon.
That's a good point. I wanted to fill you guys in too with because Spanish is my first language, so I'm not sure if you guys saw the press conference, but Puello and Matias had an exchange of words, and they Matias is a funny guy. Matias said, "Don't look at my forehead. My forehead is ugly. Look at my eyes." He's like, look into my eyes, and Bodywork brought this up too. Matias got like he got like the mentality, like he's gonna do some like he's gonna be on some like boogeyman shit, scary shit. So, but Puello is cool because Puello, he changed his trainer to Salas after the Akhmedov loss. He changed his trainer, and Puello started boxing cleaner, and he's more confident now too. I feel like Puello has a controlled confidence about himself,
Yeah.
and it makes the fight interesting because both of these guys, they know each other from Matias. Matias went to Dominican Republic and he trained out there one time, and so they know each other too. It's just they're fighting for that strap, and Matias said hold on to it tightly because to sleep with it every night. And so I wish AC brought up this great point. PBC and Turkey, you're gonna need somebody to interpret what these guys are saying, because they're saying some pretty interesting things that I feel like the fans would enjoy. They would enjoy Puello's personality. He's stoic. He's like this, like he's tricky in the ring, but he's cool outside. And Matias, he's just a killer. So it's like fans should know more about these guys. Just besides what they do in the ring, because as hardcores, we love that we got this matchup. We're not complaining. It's just they're missing an opportunity to make this, abundant in what content people could get off this. So I feel like, you guys make perfect points about the them not having that source to get people tuned in more.
Yeah.
Some of the things I've seen is that Subriel Matias, he considers Puello being a more complete fighter than Liam Paro, which is a compliment. Like, he's not tearing him down, but then again, he's also he's 8-1 against southpaws, so he feel like a southpaw. He feel like he got the the key to the southpaw. I think that it's going to be his high volume versus Puello's technical feet, and and Subriel having to go in more tactically against him, because I look at Puello as being, he's surgical, what I'm saying? Yeah. And he's getting better with those long arms and like those feet and how he can pivot. And my keys to victory is that I think Subriel has to go to his body. You got to find a way to go to that body, and I don't know if he can afford to get hit as many times as he typically allow his opponent to hit him. But
I agree.
I always know that he has a gas tank. It's like Subriel's not gonna stop coming. Like I would say, the loss to Liam Paro was probably the only time when I was like, well, was it because he was at home and he might have been partying, or he was just so excited, or he did so much before with the dancing and the moving around? That was like one of the only times I've seen, when I could have said or questioned his gas tank, because he just didn't have that extra. Normally he'll just turn up You know, he'll just find a way to turn up. And I thought, he did buckle. It got ugly for Liam Paro for a second. I was like, oh, he about to do what he always do, and he just didn't turn it over. You know,
Yeah,
but
I knew he was on some bullshit that night when you remember at the end of the rounds, Matias would touch Paro's glove, like he would like give him a hug. Like he
yeah,
would kind of like I was like, you here to hug the guy? You know, is it
yeah,
Barney
like,
time?
yeah.
Fucking. I don't know what Matias was on that day because I know because I was dealing with some Matias fans because sometimes you got people that like a fighter, but then you got people that really like a fighter. You know what I'm saying? So I had Matias fans get at me because they were like, well, Power was holding. I was like, yeah, he was holding, but Matias, like, if you hold Matias' whole game is like he wants you to hold him because he wants to fight in that clinch. That's what he
Right.
did against Ergashev, and Matias didn't do that, and that's why he lost. So I was going to ask you guys, too, because Bodywork was breaking it down perfectly. Do you think Puello, on the inside, you think he's going to try to avoid that clinch, or he's because I think Bodywork, you remember this, like against Gary Antoine Russell, Puello, he's good at how you say a shifting over, coming over the that weak side and checking that hook. And Matias doesn't have the best balance, and so I'm worried about Matias when Puello pivots off him. Puello is going to come over with that check hook, and Matias may not he may not be in balance to because I got Matias winning, but Puello has dimensions that do worry me. He's a fighter, he's a boxer, and I wanted to see what you guys think because Puello is tough, man. He's not a.
For me, that's one of my keys to victory for Puello is to make Matias fight you from angles he's not used to seeing. Because if you right there in front of Matias, you're in the danger zone. But if you could keep pivoting him and making him reset, and then hit him with them at them angles, that right there seems to kind of like break Matias' mind down slowly. You feel what I'm saying? To where is he? I don't know if mentally he's questioning himself, but he's still coming at you. But it's not with the same authentic drive. He's like trying to come at you because it's instinctive and figure you out at the same time as he's coming dead at you and getting hit even more. So that's my concern for Matias to win. You gotta figure out how to keep Puello in front of you. I hope you've been working on, finding good fighters that have great feet and just trying to stay in front of them. You know what I'm saying? And keep it simple once they're in front of you, because then it's a matter of timing. Because if you could time it properly, when they step actually in front of you and you got them in front of you so much that, when they do try to turn, you're punching where they're going to be, not where they are. So that right there could get you to hurting him and then being able to pounce on him. You know what I'm saying? And then he'll try to clinch with you. Then that works in your favor. So
I'm gonna be real with y'all, man. I'm nervous. This fight got me nervous for Subriel, but this is also one of them fights to where the 140 is getting to that spot to where it's getting closer to where you're gonna have to like start getting ready to crown one of these guys.
yeah,
And if Puello gets through this, Matias, he'd have been in defang both of the boogeyman and the guy in Sandro Martin who, he pretty much beat Tio. So I think that if Puello, if he is to secure this victory, he'll pull away from the pack, because I think it's a reason why you don't ever hear Tio mention Alberto Puello. You don't ever really hear Tio mention Subriel Matias. And he tried to claim the friend thing with Gary Antoine. So
Yeah.
it's a reason why. Now, when I get into the breakdown, Puello he's technically sound. And like for him to be that slippery with a guy that put on all that pressure like Gary Antoine, even though Gary Antoine he got some bad habits like how he get in and how he get out, and for him to deal with Gary Antoine on the inside the way he dealt with him, he made him whiff. Like he was like his pivoting skills, he got some of the best. I think he might between him and Sandor, that's why that fight was so interesting. They probably got the two best feet up there. Like when it comes down to having the good feet, like him and Sandor Martin probably have the best feet at the division. Now, like I said, Subriel gonna have to go to his body. He's gonna have to overwhelm him, but I don't know if he can. The way he typically goes about doing it, where he just gonna hit. I don't know if he's gonna be able to do that because I think CompuBox is misleading on this one. I think Alberto Puello, his arms are much longer than what they saying, and he's much taller than what they're saying. Like this dude is almost like, in my opinion, if you look at him, he look like he almost 6 feet for real.
Yeah.
And for that distance, he's gonna frustrate Subriel. Subriel got to keep his composure, and like I said, I think it's gonna be him like doing something that we're not used to seeing him do by like not taking on so much water on the ship early on.
So let me ask you this question.
Hold on, that's the only way I think he can get past it, because Subriel, he'll start late. He'll let you just tee off, and basically I think he try to like get you to gas out and pretty much see everything that you're going to do, and then he'll try to turn up on you like after you like basically turn the tires on you. I'm not sure he's going to be able to do that with Alberto Puello, because he got that bullwhip. Like he got them long arms and he's surgical with his punches. So go ahead, AC.
My question to you was, for Subriel, how does he get in to get that body work?
For me, is his jab. Matias has 4 different jabs he throws to not to get in all the time, because his main jab is his power shot. Because Matias, he's a natural southpaw, and he's fighting orthodox. And salute to Josh too. He said, "I'm thinking Matias going for that body work in the first half, then end him in the 7 to 9. Remember, Matias always has said he tests his opponent's power first. If he takes it, it's over." So Bodywork mentioned that, with Puello, Matias can't rely on, waiting, for Puello to like, give his all, because you guys mentioned it, AC mentioned it too. Puello he's savvy in the ring. Puello is not the kind of guy he's gonna like throw his hardest shot in round 1. Puello is gonna keep you off balance, keep your rhythm off, and for Puello to win, keeping Matias off his rhythm is gonna get him, those rounds, round by round. And for Matias to get in on Puello, Matias has to use his jab to jab his guard. He has a jab because Bodywork mentioned it. Puello has long arms, right? Because he has long arms. You guys see his stance, right? How Puello has his boxing stance. His elbows are covering his body just naturally. It's like he has a shield over his waist, and those are his elbows covering his body. So Matias, he's gonna have a difficult time going to the body. I know that for sure. But for Matias to get to the body, he has to negate Puello's movement to pivoting away and checking Matias with the hook. He has to negate that completely, and Matias has to utilize the jab to break inside, to break his guard, to make Puello react. He has to feint. Matias is not a big feinter, but I know in the Jukimbaya fight and the Bonset fight, Matias did use some like inside fighting feint, but this fight may not be an inside because Puello's the outside fighter, mid-range fighter, outside mid-range. So Matias has to bring that range within his range, not let Puello pivot him out Puello wants to get Matias off balance. So Matias has to be mindful because Matias is gonna try to hold him. Matias likes how strong he is in the ring. He likes to hold guys and keep him in that tight clinch and work those punches in there. And Puello may not allow that. So Matias has to find that direction that's gonna get to the body because Puello has great feet. And go ahead.
That's where that's the area that makes me nervous for Matias to win. You feel what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep it a beam. These days, it's really hard for me because I'm looking at guys that I really, really like. You feel what I'm saying? I wanted to see Matias bounce back and stuff like that, and you know what I'm saying? I've always wanted to find out who would win between Puello and Matias if they fight, and now the fight is here. My biggest concern is one of Matias' biggest strength to win the fight is part of one of his biggest weaknesses, because you have to get around a skilled fighter with a good jab and good and smart feet. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to think. I'm like, well, maybe, hopefully, if it was me trying to assess it, the outside looking in, looking at the fight, so that's kind of like a film study or whatever, I would try to maybe adapt a active jab. You know what I'm saying? Because Errol Spence didn't have the reach advantage over a lot of his opponents, but he was always able to get inside because he used that active jab. And as he used that active jab, it was an active jab that also had the step-in aspect of it. So he would circle around, step in to come mid-range, and then use the active jab. Boom, boom. And then when you're right there, I'm digging to your body. Now I'm forcing you backwards. I got you up against the rope. Now I'm going to put in that work on you.
I think the best example for Matias against the southpaw using the jab is the Dadashev fight in 2019. The Matias was getting outboxed because Dadashev, he was a good boxer, and Matias, he wasn't winning a couple rounds, so he got to the body with the jab, and so I think he could use it. I'm not a fan of Puello's jab itself, even though I think he has a decent jab. I just think the way he throws it, the trajectory of it, I feel like it's gonna be not it's gonna be too wide for Matias. Is short, compact, like very tight. Matias doesn't really turn that waist, so I feel like Matias' jab, based on the speed of it, is gonna get to Puello if they ever meet in terms of trying to control the distance. And I think Puello is gonna be better off using his rear hand, because I'm just trying to look at it from like Puello fighting from the southpaw stance. His jab is gonna be out, and then Matias from the orthodox stance, his jab is gonna be right in front of Puello's jab. And I just think for Matias, it'll be a shorter distance for him to get to the target, as opposed to Puello. He likes to be in that mid range, but it's just the way he throws that. I just never been a big fan of it, but I think it works to his style. But in terms of Matias, it's going to be a little harder.
So let me ask you this question: would you say Puello's jab is more like a feeling out, probing type of thing?
Yeah. Yes.
So now I know the distance, so now I'm going to start to let my hands go, and I could get in and out. You feel what I'm saying? For me, the way he uses it, when you give it the eye test, it's a good jab. You feel what I'm saying? The way he uses it for his style. Is it Is it like a Hitchens jab? Nah, you know what I'm saying? Uh, who did I watch the other day? Um, uh, I think this dude name is Colton Cole, Coe.
Oh yeah, he's good.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's crazy good.
In the rematch, he had old boy's face split up just off the jab, basically, because of the nature of how he was shooting the jab. You feel what I'm saying? By the third round, you would have thought, looking at that dude's face, you would have thought that was the 8th round or some shit like that. But going into the end of the second, going into the third, he was a bloody mess. Had 3 cuts and stuff like that. So, is Puello's jab on that level? No, not at all. But the way he uses it, it's kind of like a mask probing type thing. It's something that if you fall for it, he gonna pick you apart as soon as you dangle, you try to dangle, you go for the dangling worm. You feel what I'm saying? I got you on the hook now. You think you're gonna do X, Y, and Z. So, if they shooting a jab at the same time, Matias jab might meet there be there first, but it's just hard to listen.
Let me,
Go ahead, buddy.
If I had to try to give a game plan for how Subriel could win this fight, he gotta sustain that foot pressure. He gotta be willing to hit the hips, and basically what's gonna happen is when he get too close, if he breaks that barrier that Puello don't like, if he gets on the inside and he feel like he's vulnerable, he's gonna tie up. So he gotta punch off the break. He gotta make the ref do his job, and it's gotta be his business to push the limit with making the ref do his job, basically make it a fight. You know what I'm saying? Because I see it like this. Subriel's gonna be chasing this man around if he don't cut the ring off. If he don't cut it off the way he's supposed to, when he step to the left, he step to the right and step forward. If he don't do it like that, where he really cuts the ring off, then it's gonna look like he's just following him around. You can't follow this guy around because he can stop, hook, pivot and be out of there, make you whip to where it's you're gonna look silly swinging for the air. So whenever Puello goes to tie up, he gotta punch wherever he can, punch the hips, punch the borderline low blows. He gotta hit him wherever he can and make it a fight until the ref break it up. He gotta keep punching. He gotta steal rounds. He gotta know that, okay, when he hit that tap, he gotta try to steal rounds at the end.
So basically, he got to put on the Rescindes.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
If he can, yeah. If he can, but I know that's not his style. He's just a fighter. Subriel is just he his style. I don't know what else he implemented.
And that's the unknown.
Matias,
I don't know what he's gonna bring to the table because
Matias was talking about in a Spanish interview. He was saying that he has a sorpresa. Sorpresa means a surprise.
Uh-huh.
And so people were speculating, is he going to fight southpaw? Is he going to come up with a new punch? And me, as I follow Matias since the amateur days when he was fighting in Fajardo. I think Matias is trying to tell people that, how Matias always lose the first round? He always just gives it away. He does that feel out round shit. Mm-hmm. So I think the surprise is going to be that Matias is going to try to surprise Puello with and I'm not saying that Puello is not ready, because obviously Puello has a very smart team. His coach Salas has a lot of champions in that stable in Vegas where they train. So I'm not saying Puello is not ready. I just think Matias is not going to give that usual first round, let me fill out Let me see what power you got. I think this round will be trying to catch Puello off guard on the expectation. By the way, my bad, guys. I have to wake up at 5:30 tomorrow, so I'm gonna give a salute to AC for all the great points and Bodywork for all the great points, and I'm gonna follow up too. But everybody, please hit the like and subscribe and show love. You know, every night. Yeah, I get it. And I love when you guys come on to break it down. So I'm gonna let y'all cook up, and I'm gonna just be here tomorrow, and I'm gonna follow up on everything. But thank you guys again. Glad you guys get this conversation. You know, because I feel like nobody's talking about it except y'all really, and like, you know, maybe another Puerto Rican channel. But salute to you guys, and enjoy your night. Much love.
All right, cool.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks a lot, bro. But man, for me, bro. This fight is just so crazy. Honestly, by the time the fight come on, I'm gonna be rooting for whoever's winning. You know what I'm saying? I really, this is one of those classic fights that's. If it delivers the way it's supposed to, it's gonna go down in history. Like, yeah, this was one of those great Latin fights right here, and it happened at 140 pounds. A division. If a person took a snapshot in time on the night that fight happened, that 140-pound division between all the champs and some of the up and coming fighters and stuff like that. That division was an any given night type division. You know what I'm saying? And the guy who won that fight was the guy who said, "Yeah, right now I'm not the king of the mountain, but I know I stand at a higher plateau than the rest of y'all."
Yeah, man. I think it's a sleeper fight. I think it's gonna be the fight of the night, man, because it's a style clash, and you know, Subriel Matias, it's not his technical ability, it's his will.
Yeah,
it's just some guys that know. It's almost like the David Benavidez effect. It's like when you look at him skill, he do a lot of things that's like, man, why is he doing this? Why is he doing that? But he likes to fight. He's a fighter. Like, so it's more of like him imposing his will, him doing something or catching something where we might not see it, might not be something that jump off the screen at us, but the opponent feel it. He sense it. It's like he starts to suffocate you, and then it's like, dang, and then he keep digging away, and he keeps, you know, like swatting a mosquito, like just tapping here and tapping there and tapping there, and then all of a sudden you like, dang, this shit hurt. Like, I'm tired of getting hit. Don't touch me no more. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
But then Puello, he's so surgical, you know, his technique, and like if he catch you wrong, it'll get to one of them point where he can discourage you and make you put your hands in your pockets to the point where it's like, because he kind of did that with Gary. Like, you can say what you want about that, and I'll try not to be biased, because you gotta think this channel I was representing Gary Antoine and Subriel Matias at the same time at one point. You know, both of them was my guys. So I'm gonna say, look, you seen how relentless Gary Antoine was when it came down to him fighting El Rayo. He was not like that when it came down to Puello.
Yeah.
Now, it took a skilled boxer to make Puello look kind of weird, because Sandor Martin is just that good. He just don't have no pop. You know what I'm saying? So it's just with Puello being so surgical, and then, you know, Subriel trying to impose his will, it's a clash of styles, and you don't know what's going to happen. Like, I'm nervous because if it goes to decision the way it's going, like, one, will Puello be looked at as a runner? I don't think he's going to run. I just think he's technical enough to catch Subriel coming in, pivot out the way, and do that all night. I think that's why he said his conditioning. So this is one of them things to where these are natural 140s going at it, tenured 140s, real consummate professionals. This ain't nobody just looking for a taste of this. It's like, no, one been to the mountaintop. One couldn't pay nobody. It couldn't pay nobody to get in the ring with him with Subriel Matias. The other one, he got it, he lost it, he got it back. you know, and then he defended it against some killers. So, you know, it's just a great all around fight. I think that again, I salute Turkey for putting it on. I just think it could have been promoted a little bit better and would have got more of a it would have got more traction. But nevertheless, we get to see it, and I hope y'all tune in because this is gonna be a great fight. I think it's gonna be a battle of attrition, and if it go to a decision, I think Puello gonna win. But if there is a stoppage, it'll probably be Matias and what he always do as far as overwhelming somebody like around the 7th, 8th round. But I don't necessarily see that happening.
Yeah, definitely. So, bro, this cook was so crazy. I don't even know what to say no more, bro. Because, this was an amazing show, and at the end of the day, this is a real stake in the ground on the fight that the promoters have just added in, and I salute the promoters because you gave the boxing purists something, you know, like the hardcore boxing fans, you gave them something that they could like really, really sink their teeth into and dissect. But it's crazy because at the end of the day, you know, Coqui came up here. We don't really, I can't follow a Spanish channel because I don't speak Spanish. But as far as American content creators that speak English as a first language, none of y'all covered this fight. It was even in the conversation of the card, you would speak on it as an afterthought, and it would gain maybe 3 minutes, a quick opinion on who people thought was going to win the fight, and that was it. But to talk about the importance of the fight, to talk, go into numbers, the cultural aspect of it, you know, a proper promotion for it, everything like that, that really gives this fight its due credit and lets everybody know, there is a channel that speaks English where you can go get hardcore, really solid information about this fight going into it and saying, yeah, the way they broke it down, they did the fight justice. Now I understand why this fight is so important. And now I'm kind of upset about the card. I ain't complaining about the card, but it's just like, y'all kind of dropped the ball on this one. I appreciate the fight, but the promotion for the fight is like, bro, this fight was a lot more relevant than what they're portraying and the way it's being discussed in the media. You know, so for those of us who are part of this history and had this conversation, you know, salute to Coqui, salute to Bodywork, salute to everybody that's in the chat. You know, even if you are just ghost listening or ghost watching, salute to you too. You know what I'm saying? Because this was a real stake in the ground, and this is how, you know, I think if you're gonna give a fight credit and talk about it and make it relevant, this is how it needs to be done. You know, I'm a fan of both of them, but I can honestly see a way that both of them lose the fight. It never really dawned on me because maybe Subriel's style, but it did, and that wasn't a factor I thought of to say, what if Subriel just goes in there to make it a fight? Maybe that's his surprise. You know,
that's what they gotta do, in my opinion.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you're not the boxer to outbox Puello. So the surprise that you're talking about is you're going in there to make it a dirty fight. You're gonna beat this guy. You're gonna give him a Resendiz, you know, type of beating and shit like that. So if that's the surprise, then what you're gonna offer everybody to say, yeah, I can beat a boxer, you know, by not trying to outbox him, but just beat him up.
Yep. Water in the basement, bugs in the windshield. I'm hitting arms, legs, hips. You know what I'm saying? Anything that you give me, any place you give me, I'm gonna wear that area out till it just, you know, just hurt. It hurts. It hurts. But yeah, man, I think we did justice on it, man. I think we did a good cook, man. And I think this is gonna be fight of the night. I'm not just playing. I just think that it's gonna be fight of the night because of the matchup. Like everything else is it's a little lopsided. Whereas like most people are just assuming it's tip. This one you really don't know. Like people really don't know because like these two guys, they have those styles and they're proven. That's the thing. This is the 140 where you're not questioning who is this person at this division or what do they bring. You know exactly what these guys bring to the table, and they've done it against the best in the division. So that's why I think that that's my hypothesis, is going to be the fight of the night.
Yeah, me too, bro. Relevancy and everything else, man. It just lets me know that these two dudes know what they're fighting for. They're fighting for national pride. So, oh my. That's all I gotta say.
All right, man. I appreciate you coming through and chopping it up as always, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. Great show, man. Salute to everybody again in the chat. Like and subscribe if you want content like this. This is the place to be. All right, bro.
All right, man. Peace. Yeah, man. So that's it, man. I think we did it justice, man. Remember, this is Fruits and Veggies, not that Reggie. This is fact-based content, not opinion-based, even though we have ours. The mantra of the channel is silence is consent, which means all it takes for evil to prevail is for grown men and women to remain silent. So we speak to those things, man. We speak to the things that's just not right, that don't sit well. We don't do yes men. You don't have to agree with everything. You can disagree, but we know how. We like to fill in everybody with the details, man. We like to give you something that you can put in your rucksack and march on with, man. And again, I'm telling y'all, that's gonna be the fight of the night. I wish it had its own card, but I'm grateful that we're getting it. And the implications of this fight is definitely going to mold the landscape of 140. They're definitely the one, because you still have, even though a lot of people are looking past Regis, a Regis and a Subriel would be good. Subriel and a Richardson Hitchens and Alberto Puello. You throw Tio in the mix in any one of these fights, which, you don't hear Tio calling for no Subriel Matias. You don't hear Tio saying nothing about no Alberto Puello. It's a reason. And he want to be friends with Gary Antoine. It's a reason. So I think that the winner of this can probably stake a claim to being the best at 140. For real. Like, if you look, when you think about it, they probably can stake a claim, maybe a short-lived claim, because you still would have to throw in Richardson Hitchens and Tio and Gary Antoine somehow, some way. But given the fact that Alberto Puello already beat Gary Antoine, he beat Sandor Martin, who arguably beat Tio. Matias got beat by Leon Paro. Richardson Hitchens beat him. But at the time when they was at the IBF, Richardson Hitchens wasn't in no real rush to really get it on with Subriel. Even though he said that contract never crossed their desk. Like, that was never even an offer, even though people run with it. This has been my division, and that's how I know about these fighters and what they bring to the table and how they do it. I just wanted to wait and see if anybody else was going to talk about it, but I had to put a stake in the ground for it. Like the content, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. My super chat works. My Cash App works. We put in that work over here. Anyways, y'all, I didn't have much for you, man. Thanks for everybody who came through and showed the channel some love. I hope y'all have a wonderful boxing week. Hopefully everybody makes weight. It ain't no too much shenanigans, and we in these fights actually get across the finish line. We 48 hours out. Before we see it. PR Boxing, salute Bodywork and Coke Key, salute PR. But I appreciate y'all. Anyways, thanks for choosing Bodywork Boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, what the fuck is this nigga, right? Oh, okay, you want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to